Well, hi everybody, and look where we're at right now. We're in France. Just a couple of weeks ago, DNN Connect was held in France, and a couple of us from Chicago, a couple of our group from Chicago, was able to attend and be part of all of the festivities, get the latest and greatest news from the folks. It's not just European community of DNN followers and users, but more and more people from around the world are coming to DNN Connect. And so we were very fortunate that our own Scott Wilkinson was able to attend. He also gave a talk there. So thanks very much, Scott, for sharing your pictures and telling us a little bit about it. So how was your trip and how did you enjoy it?
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, we were there 2 weeks ago, and it was a little difficult to get to Malo, France, because there's not exactly it's not exactly a large city in France. But what it lacked in accessibility made up for in beauty, as you'll see in these next coming pictures.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Yes, the it certainly looks like spring is in the air. They got their flowers out and stuff, and the banner is at the building that you were able to go in. So tell us, so where was this? It was somebody's like a villa or a hotel or an inn or something?
Yeah, it was like a, I guess, yeah, it was a, I don't know what you call it. I forget the name of the place. Does something like Saint Estevan or Esteve, and it was outside of the city, nestled in kind of a mountain area. And it's like a resort. I guess you would call it like a minor resort.
Oh
And
yeah, okay.
this is the main reception or lobby building, and there was multiple chateaus, and I'll show you those. Basically, just these little cabins, and everyone had a chateau or shared one. It was a lot of families were there, and I'll show you the views. They were spectacular. Just we're in the mountains, looking at the city down in the valley and into the other mountains on the other side.
Oh yeah. Well, sure. We'd love to see the pictures.
Yeah. Well, going forward, let's get started. So here's one that I
Wow.
took
Yeah.
from the chateau. As you can see, the pool and the main buildings right there, and on the other side is the mountain. It's just absolutely beautiful. Some of the things I'm showing the pictures, we'll talk about kind of the compare and contrast to like the U.S. DNNCon event. And I guess this is the first one is DNNCon. West Palm Beach is really nice, Orlando is really nice, but yeah, it's just a different setting here in Europe.
Yeah, exactly. Wow, that's very nice. Looks like a nice place to be.
Yeah, the weather was beautiful. We ate outdoors most of the time. It was just really, really nice. The other thing that was nice is much more family oriented. I brought my wife with me, and one interesting thing about Malo, not only so you could kind of see the city down below in the valley there, but it's
Yeah.
also has the tallest cable bridge in the world, I think, which is the Malo Aqueduct, I believe, and you can see that in the
I've heard
background.
that.
Yeah,
That's it. That's it
that's it.
exactly. I heard that same thing. Look at that.
That's it right there, and we're just standing right in front of the resort.
Oh, that's great. So it turned out to be a nice little getaway for the two of you as well.
Oh yeah, it was awesome.
Fantastic.
And there's the
Wow.
chateaus we stayed in. They're on different levels of the mountain, and we were lucky to get one up pretty high, and they have you could see the views we had here, and the each one had a porch. It was like a little enclosed, kitchen, bathroom, two bedrooms,
Oh,
and
wow. Your own little cabin.
yeah, own little cabin. And what's great about this porch was, and us being at the top of the mountain, the row we were on, is you could take the obligatory vacation foot selfie, and
Yeah.
which my wife did here, and post that on Facebook.
I was going to ask whose toes those were, but I figured it was your wife's.
Yeah, I don't paint my nails.
Good. I guess that's good to know. I don't know.
One of the other things that was cool is right above us there was parasailing all day long.
Oh, wow.
Parasailers were dropping in just over the resort. It was really, really quite distracting.
Yeah, I would think so.
So here's a view from right outside of the main, I guess, session building. And yeah, a little bit. Another thing that's different than the DNN Con is you don't have these type of distractions. But
Yeah, yeah, I guess
these are good distractions, I guess.
I think so. Wow. Oh,
So
here you go in the actual meetings,
yeah,
meeting.
yeah, there was basically three areas that we did meetings, and this one is the like kind of the main. I would say a main conference hall, I guess that it was apart from the lobby of the building, and this is where you could host dinners or whatnot. So this is one of our session rooms. There's only three session rooms. One was a tent just adjacent to it, and the other is what I call the cave, and I'll show you that in a moment. But they're these 300-year-old stone structures are beautiful.
So, do I understand correctly? Do I see that that's Joe up front there giving a talk?
Yeah, I thought this slide was his keynote, but turns out this is just one of his sessions. But the keynote was actually in here, so the only difference was there's probably more people in the seats. But yeah,
Sure.
the keynote was nothing really new to, you know, he basically just did another history of DNN, kind of like he did at the DNN Con last in November. Uh, the only thing to note was didn't really harp much on the DNN Next this time. It was just really vague about that, and but more about the DNN 8, which is coming in September, which is going to include MVC, a lot of trying to strip down the core of DNN such that, and I think he touched on this last November, such that you have a DNN platform that doesn't have all the modules and CMS parts of it, so that you could potentially create multiple packaging of DNN. For example, Too Sexy Content could package their own DNN version that just includes the DNN platform plus Too Sexy Content. Or Blue Bolt could package it for a version of DNN that includes PackFlash when you install it, or things like that, right? Where you're breaking apart the DNN platform from the DNN CMS, from all the other modules, whether they be core or third party.
Got it. Did he address the potential problem of having so many different versions?
No, I think they're gonna just work through just making sure that the packaging process is very simple. So if you happen to install the DNN that comes with PackFlash, it's still just DNN, the version of DNN. So if you upgrade it, that's just like upgrading now.
Got it.
But yeah, most stuff was pretty vague, and but they're really talking about the DNN 8 and the CTP 2 was just uploaded just before the conference. I haven't actually seen it yet, but I based one of my demos on CTP 1, which I'll talk about in a minute.
Sure.
So yeah, that was meant to be, and this was what the hall looks like with the audience. So it's pretty nice.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
see
Now that was our hostess, right? Is the one with the mic?
Kathy, yes, very nice. And you can see Peter behind her. And then Joe and Ash and from DNN Corp are at the table right there.
For folks new to DNN, Peter and Philippe are two of the founders of DNN Connect.
Mhm.
Got the thing rolling. Several people are involved, and the third name is escaping me.
Vicest is, I don't know if he's a
Vicest,
founder, but
yes.
he from Spain. He did a lot
Yes,
of
that's
work.
the third.
Yes.
Exactly. That's the third name I was trying to remember. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, and then Kathy's from NevoWeb, if I
Yes,
remember right.
she's local. She's French. The Nevo Web is in below, and I guess since they kind of hosted the event, that I guess that's what they're going to do is the various companies that are in Europe. One they'll probably just pick one to host the event. Now, of course, Peter and the guys from the DNN Connect Association will obviously do a lot of the legwork and help with getting sponsorships and money and all that. But the company, I think I think the way they do it is the company that's going to host it is going to pick the location, obviously probably in their hometown, and the venue.
Got it. Well, very cool that she picked this one.
Yeah. And let's see. This is the cave. This is one of the other conference rooms. Again, just I just think I just think it's interesting. Here's a better shot of it. I just think it's interesting how we marry, old world with modern technology.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This is where they kept the wine casks, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I'm not sure what this resort originally was. And then this is the tent. So this is our third venue here. This is my session I did. I did 2 sessions. One was on Friday and one was on Saturday. The first one was on implementing workflow, which I think did I do a short?
Yes, you gave us
Yeah,
highlights of that talk.
I think it was in April.
Just prior to you putting that up onto on your tutorial
DNN
site.
Hero, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I did this one, and again, you can go back to our reel and get an overview of it from Chicago DNN user
Right.
group. But that was one of them, and then the other one, the new one I did, and maybe I'll do this next month or something. But I started talking about the next generation module development stack using MVC, Angular, and NED Framework 7. And basically what I did was I built a working module on the version 8 CTP, the preview that's out there now. Not even close to being ready. It's supposed to be out in September officially, but I at least attempted to build a module, an MVC module with some of these newer frameworks, and got it working. So that was my second, minimally working, but nevertheless pretty good for this. Entity framework is still in beta, and of course DNN 8, which is the MVC part of it, is not even in beta yet. So at least I got something working so that people can start looking at how to do this. So come fall, they'll be ready to build modules with the new DNN 8.
Forward.
Yeah.
Right. Very cool.
This is just me yelling at everyone, I guess. Yeah. So after the sessions were over on Friday, officially all the sessions were done. So the conference was winding down, and people actually started using the pool. The pool had one of those zero. What do you call those? A zero infinity edge or something. Yeah, which worked out really well. This is what it looks like at night, which I think this is on their website, the DNN Connect website.
Yeah.
And Friday night, so the 2 events, you know how in the DNN Con they usually do like one event, which is like a little wine and dine sponsored by DNN, and then the second one's just kind of the wrap-up party. Kind of the same thing here. On Friday night, they put us all on the bus, and we went to a winery. And here's what's kind of cool about the way they did it, and if we ever get to do it in Chicago, another event, maybe we can take a page off of this. So instead of everyone sitting down and eating, we all just went and they set up tables, and at various places that they were going to do it outside, but it started raining a little bit, so they kind of pushed us into this where all the wine tanks were, and set up little tables. We all stood around and drank wine and ate, and just kind of talked the whole time. So it wasn't like a sit-down formal thing, but it allowed people to just kind of wander around and grab some food when they wanted to, and then we made it into the lobby of this wine place where they had a little store there, and still just talking. It was pretty neat.
That's great.
And then on the Saturday night, this is the wrap-up dinner. They turned that hall into one big banquet area, and we did have a sit-down meal, and that was pretty cool.
Right, and that's definitely a traditional European meal.
Yeah,
it's all big long tables.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wine was plentiful in France. Can you imagine that? Not only was it plentiful, but it was cheap too. I mean, I think the grocery store, most bottles of wine were between 4 and 11 euros. So it's pretty much cheaper than soft drinks there.
Yeah, yeah. I think you start drinking them earlier than soft drinks when you're a kid in in
Yeah,
France.
exactly, exactly.
Oh,
Uh,
and this is the famous T-shirt for Sean.
yeah, so during the dinner, they had the all the wrap up stuff. They presented Sean a T-shirt. He gave kind of an emotional speech. He was really moved by the community. Despite not really being in the DNN Corp anymore, or really an MVP, he just reiterated that he loves the community and is he was very moved by how the community constantly gives him appreciation. So I thought that was cool.
Well, yeah, when you think about it, he's solely responsible for a whole bunch of people livelihoods right now, just
Yeah.
by coming up with the tool the I Spy tool way
Hmm.
back when, and then turning it into DNN way back when, and of course, a lot of people contributed over the years to it and all, but it was his idea and got it started, so we certainly appreciate that.
Yeah. And then
Wow, that's cool.
Joe Brinkman did the MVP announcements, and
Yes,
so the spring MVPs. I don't have the list in front of me now, but you could probably find that somewhere. A lot of the MVPs were European guys, Philip Becker, and I think he
sure,
was a new one, but there are a lot of those guys there, like Peter and Vicente are already MVPs. I can't remember
right.
exactly who else got new ones, but the two that came kind of close by to us is our own Mike Riley is a
Yeah,
brand new MVP, and my buddy Adderson, who is my partner and cohort on DNNHero.com, also is a brand new MVP. So congrats to those guys. You
yes,
know,
exactly. Wonderful. Well, we're going to talk to Mike about that, and just uh, he could tell us a little bit about the things that he's done that's contributed to the group, and I'll
yeah,
have to get Adderson on the line as well so that he can tell us about that too. So,
yeah,
uh, does a lot of good things there. Plus, he's doing the Desk Pal and the 1-800-DNN stuff
oh yeah.
to help people to build websites, which is great. And Mike, of course, with his role in the Chicago Archdiocese,
Hmm.
helping all the schools and some of the churches do their individual websites through
Hmm.
DNN and all that stuff that he's contributed. And
He's
he's helped us, as a matter of fact, our own company, with projects too. So these
yeah.
guys are great guys. So we really appreciate that they were recognized here. And so we'll have to get them both online here with Chicago DNN Talk to them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
There's
No,
the full, or at least most of everybody. That was a photo taken by
some
a
parasailer flying by, took a picture of you as you're standing around it.
yeah. It kind of looks like either a parasailer or a drone. It's just this guy had this telescoping arm camera that was able to get up way up high and get the whole landscape in there. It was pretty cool.
Wow. Now there's a selfie stick for you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Impressive. Yeah. I thought, it's definitely somebody up on a roof somewhere at least, but wow, that's pretty high up there. That's nice.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, so the venue was great. The trip was nice. Did you go straight to Melo from the airport, or did you travel around a little bit in France while you were there?
Well, since I had Kim with me, yeah, we decided to turn the next part of the week into the vacation. So we had flew into Paris. We drove down. I had a colleague Nick who went with us from Blue Bolt, and we drove down to Malo. We drove back to Paris, dropped Nick off, and then Kim and I went on to. Now I got a couple more, just two more slides, Don, and I didn't want to rub this in your face since you didn't go, but I just thought. So we went to Paris right afterward. We visited
Oh,
the
okay.
Louvre, the Notre Dame, the Arc de Triomphe, and of course the Eiffel Tower. And then the next we went on the Eurorail to London, and there's our London pictures. So yeah,
Oh,
it was.
great.
If you're gonna go to Europe, you might as well. Yeah, if you're gonna spend the money to go out there, yeah, we turned it into a vacation as
Yeah.
well.
So down at the bottom right here, that's the Tower of London, wasn't it? Isn't it?
Exactly, the Tower of
Yeah.
London. Yeah,
And,
and I
Westminster up there,
Westminster, and
the
I think Buckingham Palace gates up
Tower
there, and you got
Bridge,
Big Band, and then the Big Ben up the corner, and the Tower Bridge, right?
and they still have payphones on the streets.
That I took that picture. My folks, my aunt and uncle live in Hackney, and they still have those all over the city. That one happens to have the original phone in it, and it's right by my aunt and uncle's house.
Oh, that's wild.
Yeah, I don't think
Oh,
anybody
that's
uses it,
great.
but
Well,
yeah,
yeah, you got it. You got to wonder. They've got just as many cell phones there as we do. So yeah,
yeah.
wow. That sounds like you had a blast.
Oh,
So
it was
good
great.
stuff with the community. What was your obviously you did a couple of talks for the group.
Hmm.
What might you say would be some of your favorite talks that you listened to or sat in?
Yeah, a lot of it focused on, I think, the new technologies. What's funny about my talk on that development stack that I think I have this, let's see, yeah, this one right here. There was
Uh-huh.
actually, it was a lot of overlapping subjects of this type. There was Charles Nurse doing a little bit on MVC. There was Joe Brinkman doing a little bit on Entity Framework 7. And there was Daniel Metler who did a deeper one on Angular. And mine was sort of the one that kind of put it all three together into a working module. So I guess that's kind of what I lean to. The guys from Germany from ITM, they did one on using Hudson as an automated build process for your DNN. But yeah, a lot of it just focused on these future things like Angular, Entity Framework, MVC, the type of future frameworks that we're going to be building with. A lot of development centric topics, and I think one of the biggest difference in the DNN Connect in Europe is unlike the DNN cons where there's vendor booths. There's an element of vendors and trying to hook
Yeah,
up
there's some
clients and
sponsorship that's happening, but there's
yeah,
just not
yeah. This is more just this is more focused on community and on development. A lot
got
of it
it.
was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, folks, I and I saw a couple of your slides that where manage.com had a sign up,
Hmm.
and I see that they have it as one of the labels on the slide stacks that
Hmm.
people were giving, along with ITM and TUSIC, and um, so we certainly appreciate because that's how these things can happen. Is
Yeah.
that these folks get these things together, and there's some dollars that need to happen to make it, to make it
Yeah,
all come
sure.
together to
They
keep
absolutely had
everything.
sponsorships and
Right.
they did do a sponsor thank you, but there was no actual vendor area where people
Right,
were
right.
promoting
And the
their
cool thing
products.
about it, I mean, there's also a very, very large companies that support us, like Microsoft, for instance.
Hmm.
Oh, and there was a Microsoft guy there, as I read someplace,
Yes.
uh, that came all the way from Redmond to talk. And
Yeah, he's very good. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, I was very impressed by his demo. I thought I had a picture of him somewhere. I think he was on Joe Brinkman's. Do you see right behind Ash Prasad there, the guy with the glasses on his head on the
yeah,
right? Yeah, that's. I think his name is Elon, and yeah, he's from Microsoft, and he did a keynote as well as Joe, and his was on obviously talking about the next gen ASP5, the .NET 5, and the Core CLR, and all the neat and cool stuff that's going to bring, which will be leading into the DNN Next, which will probably be at least next year. Before we really see that. But
right,
that,
right,
yeah,
exactly.
that's very cool stuff. Potentially being able to run .NET applications on other on other on other servers like Linux and or other operating systems is really 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 important and cool.
Right, exactly. And it's good to see that. I mean, obviously, major corporations like Microsoft is there, but the
Hmm.
when you think about the distance between the sponsors for DNN based things and the developers, it's an extremely small distance because many of the sponsors that are there are fellow developers of the tools that we're all using. So
Mm-hmm.
it's nice because they're there wanting to learn stuff too, not just necessarily to be there to sell a particular product. They're helping make the thing go forward, which is that extra edge of open source that you got to have. You got to have some folks supporting. So we certainly appreciate those folks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Very
absolutely.
cool. Well, you son of a gun. I wish that we could have made it this trip, and so we have to try to figure it out into our schedule. Have they haven't announced 2016 yet, have they? What city it's going to be? Who's going to be sponsoring?
No, I don't think anything.
We'll
Um,
have to keep an eye open for that to see
yeah,
when that's going to be. We'll certainly be happy to tell the folks in Chicagoland about it in case somebody has a hankering to go on a trip over to Europe. It'll probably be there. I know Eric asked me uh, via Twitter. When Chicago DNN is going to be at the event. And I said, we'd be happy to host it here because it is, after all, DNN Connect is a world organization. So don't have to have it in Europe. But we appreciate that the vast majority of the guys that are running DNN Connect are over in Europe. So
well,
it's
what
okay.
are you talking about, Eric VB?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what he's talking about is not DNN Connect. He's talking about DNN Con because
Oh,
Arrow is not planning on doing it this year. I don't know if you knew
I,
that.
I saw a post from Will saying anybody interested,
Yeah,
and that's the extent of it.
and
So
I
that
think
sounds.
I think that's what Eric was asking because if no one picks it up for this year, for this fall, then we may not have a DNN Con in the U.S. this year.
Oh my.
So maybe we'll
Well,
talk later about
we
this.
we better talk about that later so
Yeah,
that somebody somewhere has it. I
yeah,
know there's been plenty of people that would like to have something.
yeah.
Maybe if we could do something that's along the same lines as the flavor of DNN Connect. DNN Con was quite big, and DNN World was quite big,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of effort to put on something that big. And folks that put those things on the last few years, they put a ton of effort and a ton of dollars into it as well. So if we could do something that looks a little bit more like what you folks just went through, maybe that is something we could pull off. We'll have to talk about it further, though.
Yeah.
Very neat. All right. Well, until then, hey, thanks very much for sharing the slides with us so that we could see what this all looked like, um, and also letting us know about the different talks that was going on. That's great. We will keep that in mind. In fact, we'll probably go through the slides. I know that they're going to be putting some session notes up at DNN Connect's website um, coming up soon. I think they're just all recuperating from throwing it all together. So the stuff's not there quite yet, but I know that they promised to put some stuff up. So when
Hmm.
we see some things up there, we may very well want to get in touch with a couple of them and have them talk to us at Chicago DNN and share some of the some of the details of their slides. There's one topic that I would love to hear, and I know that changes have been made uh, over the years and over the versions of DNN. And DNN Connect would be somebody over there would be a perfect candidate to talk about it. But I'd love to see somebody put together a DNN website that is multilingual, using the proper techniques that DNN. What's the best practice? I know there's a number of
Mm.
different ways of doing it over the years, and I'm wondering who is on top of that. You would think that Europeans who where their languages are so close together over such short distance borders that there's lots of European websites that are multilingual. You don't see as many here in the States. By and large, they're all English. Very rarely, if ever, do you see it, and maybe you'll see an English Spanish one. But it'd be good to see a site that's multilingual and understand how to put it together. So those of us that would like to build at least a bilingual site here in the States, and there's plenty of reasons to do that, to be able to do it with best class.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we'll get one of those guys to tell us about that too. All right. Well, hey, thanks,
Nice.
Scott, and we'll be talking with you soon. Take care.
All right, thanks.
All righty. Bye bye.
Bye.